The marimba does not only represent Guatemala for being the national instrument and symbol, but it also represents the people and complex culture of the country. There is still no consensus about the origin of the marimba, but according to Review magazine, there are three main theories that ethnologists and museologists believe. The first being that the marimba was invented in Indonesia and later brought to Latin America as conquests were occurring. Others argue that the marimba was originally from Africa, and when the Spaniards invaded the Americas, it was brought with the culture of the African American slaves. However, the most popular theory amongst Guatemaltecos is that it originated from Mayan culture and music, but when the invasion of the Spaniards happened, the destruction of many Mayan cities and objects destroyed all evidence that would prove this theory to be valid. In Guatemala, they used two basic pieces of nature to construct the instrument. Some use the comate, which is mostly used among small pueblos like Chichicastenango, where more traditional practices are used. As the marimba has evolved, now it is more common to see marimbas that are made out of a tree that is in great danger of extinction, called árbol de hormigo, which is also grown in Guatemala. The wood at the bottom of the instrument is used to produce a vibration that amplifies the sound of each unique bar, which is why they vary in size. The marimba usually has detailed carvings in the front of the instrument, of temples, Mayan gods, and people of Mayan descent, to remember the Mayan ancestors that once lived in Guatemala or the greater territory of the Mayans, Mesoamerica. The instruments that accompany the marimba vary in everything from location, family, and practice. Marimba can be played with la charmilla, el aitol, el chichin, el tuncul, and various flutes for a more traditional sound, or with a drum set, guitar, and a bass for a more upbeat danza sound. However, the possibilities are endless. It highly depends on the type of music that the marimbista and their groups seek to create and the level of creativity that they put into it. In the beginning of the conquest, it is said that the Spaniards used the marimba in the Catholic Church to attract indigenous people into Catholicism. The marimba is now played in posadas, fiestas, weddings, Dia de los Santos, at Mass, festivals, carnivals, reunions, and almost any type of event in Guatemala. In many of these events, the marimba is accompanied by a danza that tells a particular story about Mayan history. More famously known, the Danza de la Conquista, which is a recuerdo or meaningful memory of the death of El Rey Quiche and the tragic conquest that came with the Spaniards. Another well-recognized danza across various regions of Guatemala is the Danza del Venado, which tells the story of how sacred the venado or deer is to Mayan culture, not only in celebration of nature but as a spiritual being. There are many marimbistas who individually got involved in the marimba culture, but for the most part it is passed down from elders to the newer generations. This is why you might see marimbistas with various people of different age groups. Marimba culture is not segregated, meaning that both Latinos as well as indigenous people of the region practice and embrace the culture as Guatemaltecos. Culturally, the marimba is associated with drunkenness and party, which is why it is mostly played amongst men and not women. Although not widely accepted, women have now taken steps into going about participating in the marimba culture. They have created all-women marimba groups or have taken part in co-ed marimbas. However, their struggle to be recognized and respected among marimbistas continues. Throughout my research, I met with Mayari de Leon, director of Casa Museo Luis de Leon, a community culture center and museum in honor of her father, Luis de Leon, Guatemala's own writer, teacher, and revolutionary mind. During the time of Guatemala's Civil War, he was kidnapped and taken by military forces because of his critiques and publications. The center provides a space for children and teens, both female and male, to learn of the arts and culture of Guatemala. Through this space, they provide marimba classes with a specialized teacher paid by the Ministerio de Cultura y Deportes. However, they are facing a low funding crisis, in which due to budget cuts, the center may not receive aid from the Ministerio at all. According to Mayari, this is not new and is actually a common practice in Guatemala. She explains that as soon as money is tight, the first thing to go is anything having to do with the arts and cultural funding. She went on to say that this is a very sad truth, because these practices not only give people a sense of who they are or build a community, they are also part of the history that made Guatemala the place that it is today. Marimba, whether highly recognized or not, is part of Guatemaltecos and lives in the hearts and minds of the people who inhabit the land, and even the Guatemaltecos that have left. It was part of their ancestors and now is part of them. Marimba, as Mayeri explained it to me, es tan diversa y alegre como el maíz de la tierra.